OK nè, bé cậu liệt.
Đấy, là gì? Bây giờ cậu xin. Nhà hỗ trợ á?
Vô súp cà mua.
Mua tất cả, cảm ơn con.
Mua súp cả.
Bảo, đi xe thấy ok không?
OK đó. Đâu rồi.
Okay, this one pass. Today, I'll be doing barbecue pork ribs. And barbecue pork ribs is the best thing in the world. It's the easiest thing to cook. The only thing you need to know when it comes to barbecue pork ribs is a 4 hours process. But I'm not a really like a chef or whatever. So end of the day, all the recipes that I try to dabble, I always write it down my notebook. So let's see what are the things. So energy bar, barbecue pork ribs. There you go, barbecue pork ribs. So blah 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 blah. Let me prepare the ingredients. So these are the things we need. 6 tablespoons of brown sugar. So this brown sugar can be any brown sugar. We need half tablespoon of salt. So I'm using this salt, pink salt. Okay, so half tablespoon of salt. This one is 3 tablespoons of paprika, so any paprika will do. So I try to buy smoked paprika because it's more hyung, right? More roasty and all, so it's definitely much better, I assume. Okay, and what else we need? We need garlic powder. So I always like to use this one. For garlic powder, we need about 2 tablespoons of garlic powder, and I love this. This is my favorite. I do it for roast chicken, everything, like even stir-fried veggie. I always add this. It's not cheap though, but it's my favorite. I'm a bit naughty. Before I go naughty, we need about 1 tablespoon of pepper. So I will just use this pepper and just grind it a bit. But I also like to be a bit naughty. I just like it a bit spicy. So I always put like maybe about half tablespoon of this Thai chili. If your kids can't eat spicy, don't put it. But my kids, they are about 8-9 years old, they're okay with it. So I'll just put a bit. You know, they'll probably say, "Oh, Papa, so spicy," but just a bit of heat, like probably just a bit. Let me see, this 1 teaspoon. Yeah, just a bit, 1 teaspoon will do. Okay, just put it in any of the bowls. Always like to do, you know all this cookie Tupperware, this cookie container? So what I did was I just drill a lot of holes here, and then this will be my spice sprinkler. So everything that we need, we just pour it inside, carefully of course. Very well. So the beautiful thing about this baby here is when it's all there, just stir it up. We have barbecue sauce. This will be used to put it around the barbecue later. I mean, to put it around the pork ribs after it's been cooked. I'll show you when we use this. This is not going to be part of the marinade. This is much later. So I always believe that when you are cooking something, especially dry rubs and marinade and all, don't go crazy and just marinate it because you think you followed the measurement correct. It's always good to just take a bit, put in your finger, and just lick it. It's about right. So marinade is done. So these are all the old marinade, because every time when I do marinade, there's always a bit of leftover. It's good to just put it together so you don't waste it. So this like kept in the freezer. So every time when I want to do roast chicken or pork ribs or whatever, I just reuse the marinade over and over again. So this was last time's marinade. I think it was like 2 months ago I did pork ribs, so using it again and just put it back. So done. Close it. Another good thing about having this is close the hole and just shake it. There you go. High five. Preparing pork ribs because we are doing the marinade. So this is good to start putting the, let's just show you. It's good to on the oven to let it start preheating. So, hello.
Hello.
What's Papa doing now?
Cooking something.
Yummy. Do you like Papa's pork ribs?
Yeah?
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
Oh, shaky, shaky. Okay, so preset the oven to roasting the meat, and about pork ribs, it's going to be a very slow cook. The longer you cook, the better it is. But I'm going to set it at 4 hours. So whenever you time your cook, always work backwards. If you think, if you know you're going to serve dinner at 6 o'clock, you count back 4 hours, prepare at 2 o'clock. If you do it later, you're going to regret it. You won't have enough time. So I only do it at around 130, 125 will do, thereabout. And I'll do 4 hours plus. Let me see. There you go. For 10. So 10 minutes of preheat and 4 hours of really nice slow cooking. The longer you cook, the more love you put into the pork ribs. It's gonna be the best drop-off meat pork ribs ever. Guarantee it. To do is line the pan. Today I am cooking for how many people? I also forget lah. Quite a number. 5. I'm cooking for about 12 people today. I'm cooking for 12 people, and the pork ribs will be the main dish. So I got my mom to help me buy 2 kg of pork ribs. So I probably need 2 pans. Yeah, and you need to line it silver side up. Need one garlic. I'll show you how to do the garlic later. The garlic wouldn't make the pork ribs taste any nicer or whatever. This one is just I'm gonna slow cook it and make the garlic really soft inside. It's a trick that I've seen how people do it for steak as well. So if you can do it'll make your garlic really melty like a butter like that. Well, delicious. Take olive oil, lightly coat the base so that it doesn't stick too much. So that when you cook the meat, right, it doesn't really stick all over the base. So it's just something that I do. Okay, done. Here comes the fun part. Let's talk about the pork ribs. So there's about, I think, 2 kg of pork ribs here. Let me show you. 2 kg of pork ribs. Here, let me clear the place up. Yeah, I have a messy kitchen again. I'm more of a cycling vlog, but I do love to cook, you know. So who knows, maybe if I get a lot of views, I'll probably set up a more proper place to do vlogs for cooking. So let's see. Okay, going back here. Meat number 1. I already took out the meat and tried to get the meat to room temperature. So take the meat out. Ooh, beautiful. Let me here first. So, to know how many you need to serve, right? You see the meat is very long. So normally I'll get the butcher to cut half, and then when you buy the meat, right, there's always a big chunk of meat here. Tell the butcher to just flatten off everything, and that big chunk of meat, what you can do is to do minced meat. So ask the butcher to add in some fats, pork fat, and then just mince it, and you can do spaghetti sauce, this and that. Okay, so always look for all these nice marbles, right? Nice fat. It's gonna be very yummy. So normally, like here, it's like 1, 2, 3, 4. There are 4 ribs here. If we cut into half, easily you can fit. One person probably take 3 ribs, right? So there's 1, 2, 3. So there's about 2.5 packs here who can eat one of this. So now I have to cut this to half. Look at this beautiful meat right there. I should be able to put the whole thing here. Beautiful. It's about 70 ringgit worth of pork ribs here. So I'm not sure how I'm gonna dry wrap it. It's just pretty straightforward. This is the best thing ever. So easy, because you don't want to too heavy marinate your meat. So one of the best ways is to carefully sprinkle it around. So normally what I do is I like to do the bone part here. Oh, by the way, remember when you buy pork ribs, ask the butcher to remove the film here. This will make the meat even more fall off, more soft. So that's how we do it. And of course, make sure it goes to all the crevices, you know, get it into the meat. You don't need to marinate this overnight, mainly because I'm gonna slow cook it for 4 hours at 135 degrees Celsius. So Hi Vera. With the slow cooking, right, it's gonna be it's gonna marinate anyway while it's being cooked. So, one of the best thing about using this is you don't overuse too much spice that you don't really need to. So get it all in. And this one. Get it all in. Done. Pot. Meat and this meat, and later I'll show you how I'm going to wrap up the meat together. This back part of the bone, if you look at the ribs, right, at the top part of the ribs here, I tell you, this is the best part. Normally you can't buy this when you go to places that eat pork ribs like Morganfield or whatever. They do not serve this part because it's not the nicest part, but there's so much nice meat here because this meat is all connected to the bone. I think this is the backbone part. Ooh, I'm going to eat it.
What's that?
This is the marinade, no?
Oh.
Take a whole garlic. Don't worry about it being dirty. It's gonna be in high temperature anyway, and everything's gonna die here. Cut off the dry part here, the bottom part of the garlic. The sharp knife, of course. And you see, I'll try to keep the garlic together, but I think this one's not working. You're supposed to keep the garlic together, but you get the idea. So a whole thing, just put on top, like this. And just leave it there, because this is going to be slow cook and it's going to be like very buttery garlic later. I'll show you. I'm going to wrap it. One of the important thing about slow cooking pork ribs is you really have to wrap it as airtight as possible. Wrap the entire pan, because it needs to be as airtight as possible. You want to keep as much moisture in as possible, because as you know, oven tends to dry the meat pretty fast, right? So this will be pretty tight. Okay, it's going to be hot. Well, not that hot at 135. So then, don't worry about it being top or bottom because the heat's going to go everywhere anyway. So the most important thing is you just have to leave it there. And that's it. So it's 3 hours 50 minutes, more or less, right? I'm just gonna leave it there for about 3 hours 50 minutes. But yeah, should be okay. Then it's pretty simple. After about 3.5 hours or so, it can run actually. But if I have time, I'll put it a bit longer. Then I need to leave it. Then once it has passed about 4 hours or 3.5 hours, right? But I'll try to put maybe 3 hours 50 minutes based on my time. Okay, smells really good. I think the pork is more or less done. A very nice warm heat. I should be able to bake it nicely. Get it all up. Always remember to quickly close your oven because you want to keep the heat there. If not, you're wasting electricity. Okay, so let's see how it looks like. Smells amazing. Moment of truth. Okay. That's what you want. You want the meat to shrink from the bones. Look at it. Okay, so now that it is very nicely cooked, here comes the magic. You can remove the top foil because you don't need it anymore. Put the barbecue sauce around it. Get a brush and just brush it around. Normally I just buy whatever barbecue sauce but you can always buy the barbecue sauce, the sauce that you like. So this is really easy to do. Honestly, you don't really need cooking skills to do one of the best barbecues, pork ribs ever. Trust me, try this, cook it for your friends or family. They'll be saying, wow, you did barbecue ribs. It's so worth cooking by yourself because to go out and eat one of these barbecue pork ribs is like, what, 50 ringgit, 60 ringgit? And you probably only get like half of this or less. Alright, if you cook it by yourself, it's so much cheaper. This pork ribs to my grandmother's house, which is about 10-15 minutes away, so no, about 20 minutes away, so I need to use back this foils to keep the food warm. Normally I do buy Heinz, but explore whatever barbecue sauce you want. This is... That's right, I mean it's gonna harden it's gonna burn all the sugar, which is what you want. You want the meat to be a bit dry, and I'll just show you. So this is how it looks like. And I put the heat at now about 230, like that's 230. And I'll put it inside and see how it is. It's hot. Leave it there. Because I have two trays, right, 1 and 2, I probably need to do it for about 10-15 minutes at the top and another 10 minutes at the bottom, maybe 15 minutes and 10 minutes, because I need to switch the place to get the heat to hit the top part of the meat, because I really want it to be a bit crunchy and dry at the top. When we are playing with oven, I always like to monitor it just to make sure I don't burn it. Again, I'm not a professional chef, but I like to cook easy food for my family, and so far they always like the food that I cook. So I like to monitor it just to make sure I don't burn it. So I'm gonna it's been almost about 10 minutes. I'm just gonna look see. It's gonna be hot. Ooh, it's hot. Ooh. Oh, it looks good. See, the top looks great. So I think it's enough. I'm gonna switch the place. The meat. Turn to come up. Hot. Go down. I think another 10 minutes we are good to go. Hot. Oh, beautifully nice. Okay, looks good. Oh, heavy too. It's nice and dry at the top now, but everything's still very moist in the inside. So later, what I'll do is I'll burn it and make it even more crunchier. So now I'm going to my grandmother's house. Okay, if you are cooking this and you're gonna bring it to your friend's house and potluck or whatever, it's good to just wrap it back to keep it warm. Ooh, careful, very hot. Keep it warm, and this will keep it warm, and also it's gonna keep the moisture within the pork because you don't want it to be dry. So it's very hot. Done. We are here. Okay, time to carry the food. Tutup boot.
唔使咩啦嚇，哇 sorry，
ข้างที่จะปอกเอง
哇！
Okay, done. Here. Wow, look at the top falling apart.
自己在手上。
This is the easiest barbecue pork ribs ever. So try it at home, okay? And then of course, share, like, subscribe. You know the deal. Thank you guys, and have a great day. 嗌雞豬肉，用手食啦。睇正冇，睇咁立冇。
Ah, good.
食咗啦，食咗啦，咁快啊？哦，咁立冇。
咁咪得咯。
Okay. Pork pork.
Yes.
It's sucking the bone 啊。
Got meat 嗎？
Okay.